Hey everyone, it's David here. I want to talk to you about 3 essentials in your mortgage overage business that's going to help you succeed. Yesterday when I went to the mailbox, I had a check for $2,200 from an attorney for a mortgage overage deal. It was $2,235.03. Now on this particular check, which I'm extremely grateful for, it was supposed to be about 5 times higher. So when you're working a mortgage overage deal, you want to subtract $15,000 right off the bat. You're watching these, and I give plenty of earlier videos on how to find mortgage overage leads, because unlike tax overages, mortgage overages do not get posted at the county. They don't say, hey, here's a list of unclaimed funds. These are kind of kept quiet, and you have to know what you're doing. You want to watch the auctions, you want to see what the asking price is, and then you want to try to find the estimated debt on the property, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second. But the banks come back, also known as trustees, and they typically take $15,000 additional of what's left over on the auctions, which I think is highway robbery, and I personally think should be illegal. However, you're playing their game and their politics. They charge for the auction, the auctioneer, the courts, the filing fee, the dates, the lawyers, and all that. They charge about $15,000. They definitely make their money when a property sells for over the asking price. And what's sad in my opinion is this is money that should be going into the hands of an individual that originally had the property that couldn't afford to make the payments, but they do whatever they can to make as much money and they justify it. When you're looking at your list, if a property sells for about $100,000, figure there's going to be about $85,000 of possible available funds. The second common misconception I see is a lot of people say, hey, this sold for $100,000. Okay, we'll subtract that $15,000. There's $85,000 to claim. You want to do a lien check on the property. So for this one, we did a lien check and it was for a high amount, and unfortunately the second didn't show. However, luckily there was enough funds where I'll take $2,000 over nothing all day. The overage on this property was well over $100,000. We take out that $15,000 and there was a second for right around $80,000 that came in. They took part of that overage. So we went ahead and still got our client paid and we took a percentage of it. When you're interviewing your clients, now a lot of people say, do I do a lien check before or do I do it after? And that's a great question, and that's one where you and only you can answer, because I know people that successfully do it both ways. They get a list, they get overages, then they go and they do all their homework. The problem is, what if someone's working on it on their own? What if they're working with someone else? You're doing a lien check on this. So a lot of people will call the claimants first. Well, the problem is, what if there's a lien on there that you didn't see before? So you're kind of dealing with this both. What I like to do is I like to get a list of overages that's a very substantial amount, and those are the ones that I work, because even if there's a second on there, typically there's still going to be money that's left over. We just got one in the mail, and it's kind of funny. I've never had this happen before. On the same day I got this check, which was yesterday, I got this in the mail, and this was taped like on all corners. This just kind of ripped open while I was trying to get the seal broken, and I've never done this before. The attorney agreement with my attorney, my client, and I actually ripped, which I'm going to be sending my attorney a ripped contract, and I've never done that before. Hopefully she'll be cool with that. On this particular deal, there's $15,000 of money, which is not a lot, and I think we're getting 30 to 40% of that. I'd have to look and see. It sold for a lot higher. This particular one I'm showing you, it sold for a lot higher. In interviewing the client, we did discover some other liens which matched what the client said. When we subtracted those, there was still some money left over. So we came back, here's what you have. We'd still like to work with you if you're willing to work with us. Our client came back and said, yes, there's not going to be a whole lot for everyone, but there is still some meat on the bone where there'll be some money in that deal. So you want to interview your client, and questions I ask is, were there any other liens on the property, any seconds? Bank of America foreclosed. Did Wells Fargo, Chase, or any other institution have a second on the property? Was there a private note that you had on the property where you borrowed money from someone, use your property as reference? Are you in trouble with the IRS? If they are, the IRS will come in, because what the trustee does is they're going to put a notice out that this money is going to the individual. If there's a major lien out, they're going to do like a name search. That's going to come back, and that's going to attach itself to that lien, and they have to be paid out, especially if it's the IRS or if it's child support. They're going to take lead over anything. And that's typically after the first gets paid, they jump in, taxes, any of those are going to be paid off. And those are questions that you have to find the answer to. When you're looking for a lien check, after you talk to your client, what we do is we go into websites and we verify that the data matches. And this could be a title search. There's a lot of websites where you go on, you could pull title, you could look at various data that's on there. So you just want to reference it. There's times we'll have a question on something on title and we'll call our client directly after we verify what's on there. And if everything matches, then you want to go ahead and you want to submit it to your attorney or however you're going to get paid. We find that when we work with an attorney in mortgage overages, we get paid a lot quicker. There are certain states, and I believe California, Washington, Texas, and Florida are four of the ones right off the bat where you have to have an attorney if you're going to work a mortgage overage. It's required by law, so you have to use an attorney to be able to work that. Other states have probably adopted, because once one state does something, other states tend to gravitate to that direction. But we use an attorney in every single state on mortgage overage, because what we find is we get paid out a lot quicker. Because when the banks get your paperwork, they're going to submit it to their attorneys, and they don't say, okay, let's pay out David Church and his team immediately. It's, why should we not pay David Church? What has he done wrong here? How can we not pay this? How can we prolong the process? And they do that. They play these little mind games. With an attorney, you have someone who knows the law, knows the regulations, knows how long they can wait to get paid. They don't even mess with it. They just get you paid immediately. They don't want to be held accountable or paying any fines or anything like that. And I know a lot of people that work this without an attorney, they do just fine. You have to ask yourself how you want to work the business. The way I like to do this, if you want to know my way, is I pull a list. I look at I like to look at where there's a wide spread of equity there. And then I like to contact the homeowner. If they say they're working on it, I say, great, here's my contact information. Please keep it handy. And if something goes wrong, call me. Meanwhile, after I contact them, if they say, yes, let's move forward, then I ask about the liens and then I check, because I find that that's a more smoother process than spending tons of time doing lien checks on properties. Time is of the essence, and I always say it's like meat on the barbecue. The quicker you act and the quicker you contact the clients, the quicker you get paid. I like to go ahead and contact the clients and then go and do my homework. That's personally how I do it. Hey everyone, I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you around.